Hey beautiful people, lovely to be connecting again with you after our break. So today or this week we are working with the hips, and we're also working with the idea of divine splendor. So this is the idea that actually wherever you look, in whatever circumstance, that there is always the beauty and splendour of God reflected in everything. So we can work with that today with our practice. So if you're feeling like things feel really difficult, then you can just try and be with that and try and just remember that actually everything in every moment is God, and or whatever you want to call it. And that as long as we are present and we just try to be with what is, everything will be perfect. It's a nice idea. Anyway, so we are going to begin by the way that we've been working over the week since we started this course. So we're going to begin with our hands. So coming up, we're doing it slightly differently today. So rather than having the hands just straight up, we're going to start with them here. And rather than going really fast, we're just going not quite so fast, but opening and closing the hands as fast as you want to. And then we're going to begin to take the hands up and then down as we're doing it. So just working with this for a little while. We're not going to do it very long. We haven't got very long today, but we've got a lot to cover. So if it seems that I'm going very quickly, I'm sorry about that, and you can always pause the video to spend a bit longer in the poses. Okay. So when you've done that for a bit, just bring your hands down and feel whatever's happening, the divine splendour inside your body. Beautiful. So we're going to open the arms up now as wide as you can. So take them as far as you can apart, and then bring them across the body, and taking the hands as far behind the shoulders as you can, and then opening up and going the other way. Beautiful. And then we're going to go the first way again. And we're just going to do a little gentle practice to do Garudasana arms. This is eagle arms, so you don't have to do the whole thing. Just come up so that we can feel what's happening here. We're not trying to take the hands or anything, just feel the opening of the back of the shoulders here, because we're going to come and do Garudasana arms later. So coming the other way, whichever way you did before, taking your hands as far as you can, and then just opening up. Backs of the hands together, just seeing if you can just feel, maybe wiggle the fingers, see how that feels. Beautiful. Lovely. So we're going to come and lie down now on the mat. So just rolling over to come into semi-supine. Knees bent, hands down onto the mat, palms facing down, knees above the hips. And from here, just take a moment just to be here, chin slightly down, and on an exhale we're just going to drop the lower spine down to the ground, and then inhaling, just feeling the spine slightly moving, exhaling down. Beautiful. So then from here we're going to inhale and then exhale, bring one knee, doesn't matter which one, into the chest, and give that a good squeeze towards you on the exhale. So exhale, squeezing that knee in, and inhaling, releasing. So doing that a few times. In the class we'll be spending a lot longer on this than this, but we haven't got long here. Then once you've done that a few times, then we're going to just raise that foot up, trying to have the sole of the foot towards the ceiling, and take the hands behind the knees like this, and still trying to have the foot towards the ceiling. We're going to gently move the other leg down along the mat, so the top leg will probably move a bit, and then while you're in here, trying to keep this top leg fairly straight, but it may not stay straight. And then we're going to just rotate that foot a couple of times either way. So one last little stretch up with that foot, and then we're going to come down and swap over. So coming back to semi-supine, and then we're going to bring the other knee up, squeeze it towards the body on the exhale, releasing on the inhale. So working with that a few times, that's it, with your breath. And then we're going to lift that foot up, taking the hand behind the knee, foot going up towards the ceiling. Your knee might be bent, and that's fine. And then taking that leg, lower leg along the ground, along the mat, and just seeing if you can straighten that knee. If not, that's fine. You really don't have to straighten that knee unless it's right for you. Beautiful. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come round to all fours, so padding the knees if you need, and nice sun ray fingers looking down between the thumbs for a moment, and then we're going to inhale, taking the spine to the floor, exhale, looking between the knees, spine towards the ceiling. So this movement of course does everything in the body. It's such a beautiful, beautiful movement that I would really never miss out of a practice, but we're kind of focusing on the hips today. Lovely. So once you've done that for a little while, I'm just going to turn slightly to the side so that you can see what I'm doing here, because it's slightly different. Still in the cat here, I'm going to take one foot out to the side, so we're in a sort of modified gate pose here. Trying to have the sole of the foot on the ground, but that might mean that you have to turn the foot out like I do, unless you've got very, very flexible ankles. So you've got the hands underneath the head, just like you were before in the cat and cow. And then from here, we're going to do that same movement. So we're going to inhale and looking forward, and this really opens up the hip. And then exhale, taking the spine to the ceiling. So it's exactly the same, but with the foot out, trying to have the knee as straight as you can. If you need to bend it, that's absolutely fine, but just doing what you can. So it's a lovely movement here. If you want to take a bit more time on each side, then just pause the video and do that. But I haven't really got time to spend a lot of time on this here, so I'm just doing a couple of these each side. That is a really lovely movement, so do enjoy it if you can. Lovely. So then we're going to I'm going to turn my thing again so that you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. So I've got we're coming into a lunge, so I've got padding my knees again. I'm bringing my foot forward at an angle here just so you can see what I'm doing. So just for a moment, I'm just going to be very still, but kind of in this place. I've got this nice alignment with the knee above the ankle. And I'm just, on every exhale, just relaxing forward, just gently forward, just dropping the hips into this. This is really opening up these hips. You can see there. And then from here, once I've done this for a little bit, what I'm going to do is a really interesting little move here, which is that I'm going to roll onto the side of this foot here. And what this does is it takes the knee out, but it also really opens this hip, so I can bring my hands into the inside of this. And just going to where you can go. You might not be able to go very far, or you might go a lot further than me. So just seeing if you can just take that knee out a little way, and that just really opens up the hip a little bit. So then I'm just going to make myself go straight again, because this time I'm going to, so you just stay where you are, but I've just moved so that I'm still in the same position. But this is where I'm just going to, from here, I've got both hands inside of this foot, and I'm just going to gently bend the arms. So you may not be able to go very far, but it's just a bit more of an opening. Some people may be able to come down onto the elbow, one elbow or both elbows or whatever. So if you want to spend more time in that, please do. And then we'll just come around and do it on the other side. I'm just going to move my thing so you can see what we're doing. So bringing the other foot forward into a nice long lunge there. So just as far as you can get. Taking a moment, just letting the hips drop. Really feeling the opening of the front and the back of those hips. Front of one, back of the other. And then rolling onto the outside of that foot. Bringing the hands inside if that works. And just really just seeing if you can just let that knee drop out. Really feeling how that opens up that hip. And then I'm coming straight again. Just seeing if you can drop down a little bit. And maybe come down onto the elbow, but only if that works for you. And it's really good. If you can, stop the video and on each side of that, just really take a couple of breaths and really try and drop into that. That's really good. That's what we'll be doing in the class. Lovely. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the block. We're going to lie down on the side. So lying down on the side with the knees bent like this. Now, I'm coming with my arm out above my body like this. I'm going to put my head down onto the top of my arm. If that's not possible, you can have your arm out like this and drop your head down, or you can even, if it works for you, have your arm out like that and have your hand onto the side of your face. It doesn't quite work for me. You know, I'm a bit tight here and under my shoulder and everything, so I prefer to do it like this. So you choose which version you want to do. Now I've got this hand in front just to give me a bit of stability. Feet together, and I'm just going to open the top knee up and take it down. So it's quite a slow movement, but you really feel it in the hip. So dropping down, lifting up, doing that 3 or 4 times. And then doing it again, but then this time we're going to lift that knee up. So I've got a kind of right angle here. Keeping that hand there for a moment just to get myself, make sure I'm stable. And then I'm going to lift this hand up and take it against the knee. And then from here, just for a moment, I'm going to try and push that knee into the hand. It's quite intense. And then only if you want to, you can try and straighten that leg. That might not work for you, so if it doesn't work, I'm still pushing against that hand. It's quite intense. And then if you really want to, you can try and straighten that leg out as well. This is a bit of a balance here, so it may not work for you. You might need to keep the leg bent. So just pushing against that hand, beautiful, lovely, and then coming back. Again, in the class we'll spend a bit longer doing that. So you can always stop the video, spend a bit more time, but I'm just going to turn over the other way so that we can do it on the other side. So just doing what's best for you. Feet together, opening, closing. So working a few times with these. Okay, and then we'll bring the knee up to the top, lift that leg up, taking the hand to that knee, pushing knee against hand, hand against knee. And then if you want to, opening, straightening that leg, and even, whoa, she says, nearly falling over, and even taking the other one out strong, long and strong. Beautiful. Well done. So, we're going to come down back onto the back. We're going to work a little bit with Happy Baby here. Happy Baby, and then doing a little bit of something a bit more interesting. So, semi-supine. Bring the one leg up, doesn't matter which one. Take hold of it again like we did at the beginning. Only this time we're going to bring the hand either to the back of the knee, if that suits you, but what we want is we want to have the sole of the foot facing towards the sky. So that might be what you can do. If you can bring your hand onto the ankle, grab hold of the ankle, that's good. Or if you can even take that arm inside of the leg and grab hold of the outside of that foot, then you can just very gently, if that works for you, it might not, if it does, that's good, very gently just pull the knee down. If it doesn't work for you and you're here, that's fine, you're still doing just as much work. So we'll do it on the other side, so just bringing that knee and giving it a squeeze, taking hold of the back of that leg, and then making sure the feet are towards the sky, and then whatever it is that suits you. So you've got that foot up against the sky. So if you're here, that's fine, and then we can bring the other leg up to meet. So it might be that you're just about able to do that. So just make sure you have the feet pointing towards the sky. If you can bring the knees more towards the body, then do so. And then only if you can, taking hold of both feet, having a little rock from side to side. This is really beautifully opening for the hips. So pause the video, stay there as long as you like, or bring the feet down, back into semi-supine. Then we're going to lift one leg, again it doesn't really matter which one you do, taking that leg over as if you're sitting in a chair, crossing your legs. We're going to lift the legs up, and it might be that is as far as you want to go, but if you can, bring your hands and take hold of both legs. So don't cross the arms. We've got the legs crossed, but we're keeping the arms straight and taking hold of the legs. So I've got hold of that leg and that leg. Oh, she says I'm falling over. And so from here, I'm just giving them a little pull. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tiny little circles on the back of the pelvis. They're really small circles here. One way, and then I'm going to go the other way. You can hardly see me doing it, but I'm taking little circles here. And then from here, I'm going to keep the legs crossed, bring the arms out at shoulder height, got flies all over me, and then I'm going to just drop the hips over. So just go to where you can go, and it might be that foot comes down and that's as far as you can go. You might be able to tuck that foot under, and then look along the other arm. So again, we'll take longer here in the class, but we're going to come back, uncross the feet, taking the other foot over, lifting up the knees and taking hold of the legs. Okay, and just seeing whatever you can do. We're going to make some little circles here. 3 or 4 circles one way and then the other way. Lovely. And then we're just going to bring the arms out and drop over the other way, just going to wherever you can go, looking over the opposite arm. Wonderful. And staying there as long as you need. From here, we're going to come down into the crocodile for a moment. So come and lie down, hands underneath the shoulders, hand underneath the head, just rocking the pelvis back from side to side. And then from here, spend longer there if you need to, but then from here, we're going to come up into the dog, just very briefly. Just have a little moment in the dog, and then we're going to walk feet towards hands, hands towards feet, come up through Uttanasana, standing forward bend, so just let the top of the body drop, and then when you're ready, maybe hands onto hips, coming up with a nice straight back. Beautiful. So coming into just doing a few little standing postures here. So I'm going to do this kind of side on to you so that you can see what I'm doing. So standing about in the middle of your mat, and we're going to take one foot forward to the sort of side of your mat, and one foot back, and then drop that back heel so that it will come in a little bit, and we're on a sort of diagonal across the mat here. And then we're going to straighten that front leg. Now you'll be kind of pointing out to the side a little bit because that's where your body naturally goes. So you're just going to try and lift your shoulders and take them forwards. But the hips will still be pointing a little bit that way because you've got this foot back. So it's really good just to do a little experiment here and just come up onto that, just lift the front toes. And you could put your hands on your hips and then drop the front toes. And feel how the hips just move a tiny bit. It's only a tiny bit, but you can see how when you lift the toes, the hips can actually come quite right forwards. And then when you take them down, they do, I mean, I can just about keep them forwards, but they do want to go that way. Just good to just feel that. Then from here, we're going to just soften the front knee, coming into Warrior One, feet and legs. And then we're going to come up into Warrior One arms. So we're doing Warrior One here. So this is opening everything up. Breath here. And then we're going to open to Warrior Two. So you're turning the hips and the torso to the side. And then from here, we're going to look over. So just take a look down at your knee and make sure you can see your toe, big toe in front. Looking over the front arm. Looking over the back arm, looking over the front arm again. And then from here we're going to straighten the front knee. And then here we're going to come into triangle. So we're going to try and keep the top arm at the same level and just come and see if you can actually look forwards and see if you can sort of move to the sides without dropping. So we're not dropping, we're kind of trying to keep the height going. Hips are coming back a bit. And then from here we can just gently begin. So we're not like flopping down, we're not collapsing. Keeping the torso really strong. Now, my tutor who was here this week doing a retreat was saying, if you put your hand onto this leg, the yoga police will come. She says, never touch this foot, because this leg, because what you do, as soon as you touch that, you feel it. If you do it, you feel it. If you put your hand onto that leg, immediately you feel that your abdomen just goes, oh, I can relax. So we're not doing that. So we've just got the hand there, but we're not doing it. And just looking up at the top arm. So we're not trying to get really far down, just feeling this amazing opening. It's an amazing opening here of this hip, beautiful. Then bend the knee to come out, and we're going to do it on the other side. So coming back to the centre of the mat, that's it. We're going to take the opposite, whichever one you did before, take that foot forward, the other one back. Sorry if this is a bit rushed. Just straight legs. We're just going to lift that hip, lift the toes and take them down. Lift the toes and take them down. Beautiful. And then from here, maybe just feeling the hips for a little while, bending that knee, feeling how the hips go round a bit more, but we're just working towards having everything facing forwards, even though our legs are doing this other thing. Raising the arms up into Warrior One, looking up if that's good, looking forward if not, making sure you don't crank the neck, breathing here. And then we're going to open to Warrior Two. So looking down at your front knee to see that you can still see your big toes. Looking along the front arm. Looking along the back arm, making sure the back arm's up as well. Looking along the front arm. And then we're going to straighten the front leg. And then beginning to just moving the body. You can look forward, moving the body over, the shoulders over, trying not to collapse. And then when you're ready, just allow the arms to go. So it's better to not go down. Just go down to where you can go. I mean, I can go to about here because, you know, once I go further than this, I begin to feel my torso turning. So I'm really trying to keep my shoulders open here, not touching that leg. And you can stay here. I mean, we stayed here for quite a long time over the weekend. But just being here, beautiful. And then when you're ready, softening that front leg to come out. Beautiful. So last thing we're going to do, this is the last posture we're going to do today, which is Garandasana, eagle pose. I'm going to stand at a slight angle so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm bending my knees. Okay. I'm taking the weight into my left, but you can do whichever you like. Taking this foot off. Now, if that feels like it's going to be difficult to balance, then what you can do is you can just bring that foot and just put the toes onto the other side, the other side of that foot. Both legs are bent. If you feel like you could lift she says nearly falling over, lift the leg up and take it over. Now, we're not too worried about taking this foot behind. I can't do that anyway. And then here we're opening the arms, doing what we were doing at the beginning, and we're bringing, so we've got the top, we've got the right leg on top, so we're going to have the left arm on top, so we're going to be like that, coming all the way around like we were at the beginning. And then we're going to come and either just do what we did at the beginning, or if you can take hold. So here we are, eagle. Woo, she says. Just do what you can do. If keeping the foot down means that you can balance, which is where I'm at today, then doing that, lifting the arms a little bit if you can. Beautiful. And then opening. And we'll do it on the other side. So just gently dropping the knees, wiggling the hips a little bit maybe. Arms out to just help you balance. So lifting up onto the tip toe of the other foot. That foot coming over. It may be that you can balance it, maybe you need to have the foot down. And we can feel so different on each side. So I'm now having my right arm on top because I've got my left leg on top. And then we're doing whatever you can do there. And then just seeing if you can come into the balance. And always remembering that we need to wobble, like I'm doing, to find our balance. Beautiful. And then coming out. Wonderful. So find your way back down. Maybe coming down into a child's pose, maybe to have a rest. Just working with what works for you to rest down, so you can come and just do a little bit of wriggling around or something. Coming out into your Shavasana, wherever that is for you. Spend as long a time as you can here, really being with what you need to be with. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me. And maybe I'll see some of you this week. Namaste.